an absolute must-attend class for everyone before they retire. In this educational episode, I'm going to address what is taught at a 6-hour RBD. This is an acronym, of course, that stands for Retire by Design educational event. I get asked this question all the time. It's one of my favorite educational classes. And so get ready. I'm going to give you a whirlwind 50,000-foot view of what we teach in 6 hours that is a game changer for anybody that is about to retire. So I'm Doug Andrew, and I've been a financial strategist and a retirement planning specialist now for nearly 5 decades, helping thousands of people prepare for a comfortable retirement or any long-term goal so that they are able to accumulate their money tax-free and be able to access that money for all kinds of goals tax-free, not just retirement, even though that's what a lot of people come initially wanting is a better retirement strategy than IRAs and 401ks and the like. They don't want to lose money when the market goes down. They want inflation to not hinder them. They want it to help them and what have you. So this is what they come to learn. And I usually recommend when I'm doing my radio shows or my YouTube videos that people who come to an RBD, which we do live in certain cities, or we have actually online RBDs, Retire by Design events. But out of all the events that I have taught, if I had my druthers, I would still teach an audience for 3 consecutive days, but people felt like they were drinking out of a fire hose. And those were called clarity retreats, and they would think much clearer, but it was like on overload. And so we condensed those down later to abundance by choice events, where the first day was talking about the foundational assets and the intellectual assets of the 2 dimensions of the 3. And then the second day was optimizing financial assets, okay? So it was the financial dimension on the second day, the foundational and intellectual dimensions on the first day. And people didn't have to come both days, but most did, and they were very grateful they did. Well, a lot of times people get so busy and they go, you know what, we want to come and if you will record those, which we have done, we would like to come for a half a day. And so we designed a format. Again, you may feel like you're drinking out of a fire hose, but people can do that for maybe 6 hours. So this is the format for what we call a Retire by Design event. And these have been extremely popular. And people who come, they just go, oh my heck. This has been so valuable. This is the best thing. Some of them kick themselves because they wish they would have come 5 years earlier. I recommend you attend an RBD online or in person 5 years before retiring. But if you're going to retire in 6 months, it's not too late. If you're already retired, it's not too late. We have many retired people that come and they're able to correct some of the things that they wish they could have done prevented, but were able to cure the tax disease, so to speak, when we could have prevented it, 5 years earlier. So it doesn't matter when you come, but optimally, I would recommend you attend an RBD 5 years before you retire, okay? So what do you experience? Basically, an RBD is set up in 3 different modules. The first module, the first third, which is about an hour and 45 minutes, is when I'm instructing, okay? And so in the first third of an RBD, I'm actually talking about the big picture. I introduce the 3 legs of the stool and how you should optimize assets and minimize taxes. And if you have a trust, why you may want to reconsider and set up equal opportunity rules of governance instead of equal distribution. And how you do that, and how to teach responsibility and accountability to your kids and grandkids, and how to leave behind a true legacy instead of just money. Because sometimes leaving behind money ruins half of the kids in this country, and they get an entitlement mindset. Oh, Mom, Dad, when do I get my share? And so I talk about the big picture, but I weave in how you need to eliminate the dangers in the financial dimension that cause most retirees to outlive their money. What are those dangers? Taxes, inflation, and market volatility. And I say, get ready, because we're going to teach you to seize three opportunities. Convert to tax-free vehicles, and you'll be immune from taxes going up. Link your returns to the things that inflate. I don't like inflation any more than you do, but it doesn't hurt me. It helps me. I've always earned a rate of return of 5.5% greater than the inflation rate when you learn how to do that. Most advisors don't know how to do that. Third is to use indexing so that when you're retired, your money is not in the volatile stock market, okay? Your money gets to participate when the market is doing well, but when the market crashes, you do not lose a dime due to market downturns. And how to have $1 million nest egg, let's say, generating 80 to 100,000 a year of tax-free income, whether the market is up or down, okay? And so how to create predictable income, because Wall Street was never designed to create predictable income. So, I sort of introduce 4 buckets where most people are way too top heavy when they're approaching retirement, with 80 to 90% of their retirement assets in what? Yet to be taxed IRAs and 401ks invested in the market. And I go, what are you thinking? The market is volatile. That's not going to give you a predictable income. You're going to be scared to death when the market's crashing. You got to get your money out of the market. Number 2, you need to get the taxes over and done with. Don't get duped into stretching these IRAs and 401ks out to age 72 and then taking RMDs, required minimum distributions. That's the worst advice for most Americans. And yet that's what most people tell them to do, CPAs. And, you want to save tax this year? Take out the required minimum. They never add up the tax through the years. If you keep doing that, you will pay taxes forever. And so we introduced a strategy called a strategic rollout. So I introduced the concept in my portion, and then I talk about the greatest strengths of my favorite vehicle, the laser fund, which is tax-free. So one of these 4 buckets is where most people have their money. Some people have real estate, and then I talk about the advantages and disadvantages of relying too much on rental income for real estate. And people get all kinds of epiphanies when they see that. They're like, oh, wow. And they sometimes don't want to be a landlord anymore, fixing toilets, evicting tenants, and taking out the trash. And they realize that if they sell and even pay a capital gain, they don't have to do 1031 exchanges, and they will end up with more cash flow than being a landlord over rental properties. Huge epiphanies. Some people get, school teacher pensions, firefighter, police officers. Some take annuities, Social Security. That's called the guaranteed bucket. The most underutilized and least understood is the tax-free bucket. So the rest of the RBD, we focus on the least understood and the ones that have the greatest impact. And that's how to get money out of the yet to be taxed IRAs or 401ks in the volatile market down into the tax-free bucket. And we usually recommend that, 30 to 60% of a retiree's income not even show up on the front page of their 1040 tax return. The IRS will know you're receiving it, but it's tax-free, and it's been protected for 108 years in the Internal Revenue Code. So they learn all of that and how to do a strategic rollout, not a rollover. A rollover is going from the frying pan to the fire, money in a 401k rolled over to an IRA and deferring. No. A rollout, you get the money out and the tax is over and done with, and then offset some or all of the tax with tax strategies, and then you rely on tax-free income. In a nutshell, we take many people that when they came to the seminar and they had most of their money in IRAs or 401ks, and even if they saved $2 or $3 million bucks and they thought, wow, we're going to get $200,000 a year of income, I look at it and I go, one big problem. It's all showing up on the front page of your 1040 tax return. And until they came to an RBD, they didn't know anything better. They realized on a scorecard that I give them that their money is only scoring 32 or 40 points out of a possible 100 because they have their money in IRAs and 401ks. I want to raise their score from 32 up to over 90. And in order to do that, they have to reposition assets. And so in about 5 years, most of our students end up with 30, 40, 50, 60% of their income not even showing up on the front page of their 1040 tax return. Again, the IRS knows they're receiving it, but it's tax-free. Now, we do have some people that they want 100% of their income to be tax-free. And so, yeah, we show stories where we took a couple in California from the highest tax bracket to a 0% tax bracket in 5 years. Most people will raise their score from 30 or 40 up to over 90 within the first year or two, but definitely by the end of the fourth year. That is the first module. So I frame it. Then my son, Emran, is the next instructor, and he's one of the top advisors and tax strategists in America. You'll be blown away. Emran teaches basically how to eliminate the dangers of taxes, inflation, and market volatility by seizing the three greatest opportunities. Okay, convert to tax-free, link your returns to the things that inflate, and use indexing. He explains those strategies so that you're immune from taxes, inflation, and market volatility. He then talks about how to create liquidity, safety, and earn predictable rates of return tax-free. He introduces the history behind my favorite vehicle, which is a max-funded indexed universal life insurance contract, and how it's a sacred cow in the Internal Revenue Code and why, under 3 sections of the code that I teach CPAs and tax attorneys. Many of them who get LLM degrees, a master's in taxation, they come to learn about sections 72E, 7702, and 101A from us because they didn't learn it when they got their LLM degree. They learn about 3 tax citations, TEFRA, DEFRA, and TAMRA, that allows you to be able to do that. When you do it correctly and you fund it properly, then it is deemed a laser fund, liquid asset safely earning returns. So Emran introduces the advantages, the features of a properly structured maximum funded indexed insurance contract that then is qualified to be a laser fund, because over 99% of IUL policies in America are not structured correctly to be deemed a laser fund. So that's so crucial. You'll know more than 99% of financial advisors and CPAs do at the end of his session. But then the last session is my son, Aaron. He's one of the top strategists. Well, he is the top strategist with numerous financial institutions in America. And he actually gets down to the nitty gritty, and he actually shows you examples and options of how you can participate when the market goes up and not lose when the market goes down. How to earn average returns of 6 to 10% tax-free, and then how to be able to seize opportunities to be able to earn sometimes 16%, 25%. He will show you actual client statements that by rebalancing, okay, you want to have it structured correctly, but you want to rebalance. He'll explain what that is, because the advisors that I point my students to will meet with you on an annual basis. And so he says, this is the difference. It's the difference between earning maybe 9 and only netting 5 or 6%, which you're going to be lucky to get with most advisors using these, and how you can earn 11 and net 10 by structuring it correctly. But if you want to actually take advantage of opportunities, when there's anxiety, there's opportunity. He shows you why you want to meet with an advisor who's a specialist that will meet with you no less than once a year to rebalance your portfolio with your IUL. Let me just tell you what that means. In 2020, what happened? 2020, COVID-19. March of 2020, the market dropped 30%. That doesn't happen that often, but when it did, my sons called their clients, and the top advisor, they called their clients and says, link to a 1-year point-to-point with no cap. That is normally not a strategy you use because the insurance company is going to deduct 5% off. Normally, if you earn 12, you're only going to net 7. Why would you do that? But when the market's down 30, the chance that it was going to be up dramatically a year later was really high chance, and it did. 1 year later, in March of 2021, the S&P 500 was up 66.33%. Minus 5%, our clients got credited 61.33% that year. My son had a client in March of 2020 in his laser fund that had $850,000. He didn't add any money to it. 1 year later, that account was worth $1,382,000. He made $535,000, okay, tax-free, in one single year in his laser fund because of rebalancing. Other advisors don't even know what we're talking about when we say that term. Now, the next year, if the market would have dropped 40%, he would not have lost one dime of the $500,000 he made the year before, because you lock in your gains and reset. My son teaches you what lock in and reset is. And then he'll blow your mind by teaching you multipliers. And this is where some of the clients from March of 2020 to March of 2021 actually received 158% return, tax-free. That's the last 2 hours. Now, you can skip out and you'll miss out on what I just said. I would recommend you don't do that. This is the game changer. The greatest benefit is most attendees end up saving between $250,000 and $1.5 million of unnecessary tax by investing 6 hours. You know what is so funny? How many Americans spend more time planning their summer vacations than they do their entire financial futures? I get reactions like, 6 hours? And yet they'll go dirt biking for 6 hours. At the end of the day, is 6 hours worth saving you, $250,000 or $1 million of unnecessary tax and not outliving your money and moving your net rate of return from 3 or 4% up to 10% or higher, totally tax-free, not outliving your money? We have many, many people. We have doubled, tripled, and quadrupled their net spendable income out of their existing assets versus their current advisor. So that is a synopsis of a Retire by Design 6-hour event. I teach for the first third. My son teaches the next third. And then my other son teaches the last third. When you leave, you'll have the opportunity to pick the brains of some of the top advisors in America. They will not charge you for their time. They only get compensated is if you implement, and they get compensated from the financial institution's marketing budget. They do not charge fees to invest your money. They do not get paid based upon the money you're making. I have never made one dime off the money my clients made. And so that, in the long run, is the best way to go, in my opinion. Fee-based advisors say, we only charge you 1% a year. For 30 years, if they took $500,000 to $8 million, like we do for many of our clients, they would have charged you nearly $1 million, about $890,000. Well, excuse me, $980,000. I had dyslexia here. Nearly $1 million to do that. These advisors might get compensated only $20,000, not $980,000. This is the least expensive way to optimize assets and minimize tax and keep your money for your retirement. So if you want to learn more about what RBDs teach, I'd recommend you claim a free copy of this book, The Laser Fund. I'll pay for the book. You simply claim your copy by going to laserfund, laserfund.com, or click on the link below. Contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling, and then I'll cover the rest of that cost, and I'll pay for the book and fire out a 300-page book to you. There's also options there if you would like to listen and learn, watch and learn. Check out the online training and the RBDs that we may teach in your area, or you can watch online. But be ready. It will be a game changer for you to invest 6 hours to retire by design. I think it is the best investment you will ever make prior to retiring. This is about you and your brighter future.